So one of the things we were discussing on the show was Tyler O'Neill being traded away. Mo doesn't usually telegraph who's coming, who's going, but he did in this case because obviously they were looking for a change of scenery. So one of the things about Tyler O'Neill is that he's oft injured, right? He's injury prone. He's a big guy, and he went through his minor league career as a weightlifter, them saying, no, you can't do that. And he wasn't injured. As a major leaguer, he's injured all the time. And I was thinking, you're a big guy who pushed a lot of iron back in the day. Was that ever a concern that if you get too big that you might become susceptible to some sort of injury? Do you think that's related?
I think it can be. I think that there's a fine line, sure. I mean, I think that you want to be strong. And, obviously the game has evolved with the strength and conditioning and the science of how to try to create an environment where guys get as strong as they can without sort of being to the point where they're, like you said, a little more susceptible to injury because of whatever, sort of tightness or maybe certain. Again, I'm not schooled enough to speak on what's the sort of line of being too strong. So I don't know. I don't know if it's if there's certain guys that are just more susceptible to injury, whether they lift a ton of weight or they don't. I mean, you could go down the line and talk about guys that don't really lift weights but seem to be injured all the time, and then it seems to be an easy target when you have a guy that looks and is as strong as Tyler, that, hey, the reason he gets hurt a lot is because he lifts a ton of weights and he's really tight. He's, tightly strung and, looks tight. I'm sure he's probably pretty flexible. He seems to really take care of his body and put a lot of time and effort into it. But I don't know, Jim. I don't know that there's an exact, sort of science to how much is too much and, the weight training and making sure that, guys are flexible but strong. And so I think it's a really kind of hard to explain phenomena about who gets hurt and who doesn't, particularly in baseball.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get you to give us a scientific take, but for your experience, were there times where you laid off the weights or you tapered it down during the season? How did you handle that in your case?
Yeah, I mean, I think the volume for me was less. I mean, obviously during the off season, you can spend more time in the weight room and expend more energy and more of your tank can be emptied in the weight room than during the season. But I do think you spend all that time trying to get strong and get in really good shape in the off season. And then during the season, if you just sort of shut it down, then you give it all away and have to restart the next off season. So I tried to just still train hard. Usually would go in, early, like around 1:30 or 2, and try to get like a 30-minute workout in where I pushed heavy weight. But the volume obviously is not what it is in the off season. So I think you definitely have to try to get as much sort of bang for your buck with your weight training during the season in a less time. But I enjoyed that part of it. I mean, I felt like it made me feel better waking up to get a workout in, and it got my body going. And it's an important part of my career, and it still is something I enjoy doing. So they have people there to help you, kind of guide you through what's best for each individual player, and still remain strong throughout the season.
Matt, Tyler O'Neill's in his walk year. We always talk about a guy being highly motivated in his free agent year. And I think sometimes, I remember, if you say that, a player may get offended saying, oh, well, I'm always motivated. But isn't that human nature also if you don't have a contract and you have the chance to get a big payday? Did you ever find that in your career? I mean, you always work hard, but, man, if it's that final year and you can have this monstrous contract, I mean, isn't that an extra motivation?
I don't know. I think some guys maybe. I always felt like, if you don't bring for me, if I didn't bring my 100% concentration and my 100% dedication every day, I felt like that, at that level you can get embarrassed if you're not totally locked in every day. So I think there's been guys over the years where, in that walk year, they're willing to maybe do a little different. Particularly like you talk about like pitchers or, I remember CC Sabathia with the Brewers, and he just pitched on 3 days rest, and he's doing, he's pitching out of the bullpen and the play, just all kinds of stuff where, the value and teams go, oh my gosh, this guy's an absolute. And he's an absolute warrior. Like, just CC was incredible. But I do think that, there's guys that, in their free agent year that feel like that you don't have a ton of shots or bites at the apple or whatever you want to use. But so when you do get close to free agency and you feel like you have a chance to set your family up for financially for a long time, that some guys might use that as motivation or feel like, that's the time they really kick in their training or concentration, or, hey, this year I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that during the season because I want to, But for me, I feel like that was my routine, and what I did every day was the same, whether I, was coming up on a contract year or not. So unfortunately, they don't throw it softer, or, if it's your contract year, the game isn't any easier. It's still a very, very difficult game. And so I didn't find that for me that, I was sort of ramped it up knowing that I was headed into free agency.
So baseball obviously is a business. And when a player gets injured, there's what the club wants the player to do. And you want to keep a good relationship with the organization. Sometimes your own people, maybe your agent, has a different way of looking at how that injury should be dealt with. When you played, how did you handle that? Because obviously you want to do what's best for you, but you also don't want to necessarily go against the organization. Is that kind of a delicate balance, or how did you look at that?
Yeah, I think that's all relational. I think how you treat people, how you talk to people, you can be respectful. You can also say, hey, I'd like to get another opinion in a respectful way. You can take the advice of your agent. You can take the advice of the team and see if they match up. And if they don't, why don't they match up? And consult doctors and people that, are specialists in the area that you might be dealing with. So, again, to me, it's not one versus the other. We all want the same thing, right? You want the athlete to perform at the highest level possible and be healthy and on the field and producing. And so I think when everybody is like-minded in what they want in the result, surely we can get on the same page if we all talk to each other in a professional and kind manner. So I always treat it like that. I love and respect, all the trainers that I ever had, and the team doctors, and but at the same time, you also have to consult with people that have only your interest at heart, and that. Sometimes you have to make sure that both parties are in the same page, and like I said, you can talk to people and figure it out what's the best plan going forward. But I think that's always communication and relationships make that a lot easier.
Matt, it's Cole here. I only ask you this. Hi. I only ask you this because we actually mentioned Jose Lima earlier in the show, but you got your first career home run off of Jose Lima.
Wow, we're talking about Jose Lima?
Yeah, well.
It's Lima time.
Well, because I watched
around.
him, Matt, as a Toledo Mud Hen. I'm from Toledo, so I got to watch him as a minor leaguer, and he was a great guy back then.
Yeah, that was my first home run at Coors Field in 2004, right center on a rainy, nasty day. Jose Lima. I think it might have been his patented changeup. But yeah, he was a fun guy. Fun to watch. Was there a question? Did I interrupt you, Cole?
No, I was just gonna say, what do you remember for that day? Did you still have did you track down the baseball? Did you? Who was the first person to call you that day?
Yeah, that was a cool moment. Like I said, obviously your first home run in the major leagues is an exciting time. So I did get the ball. I have no idea where it is.
Wow.
And then, we've moved a lot. No, that was, like I said, it was a rainy, kind of gross day. I think it was a changeup, right center, Coors Field, off of Lima time. And so it was, like I said, he was fun to compete against because, he'd let you know when he got you, and, was very expressive on the mound, and sad that he passed away. But it was it was a very memorable home run for me.
Did your teammates give you the cold shoulder when you came back to the dugout?
I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember that detail. But I don't think so. I think it was maybe they just fumbled the bag on that one, or maybe just sometimes they just high five you and celebrate you. But obviously, a memorable homer.
So you don't have that ball. I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know where it is. I have it somewhere.
What is the best piece of memorabilia you have?
Like
the coolest thing that you think, all right, like if you don't have your first homer on display,
you
must have some pretty cool things.
The batting title bat that Louisville Slugger gives you, the engraved batting title, it's like a silver bat that says your average and 2007 batting title. That's probably my best piece of trophy.
I've never been invited over, even though I lived 50 yards from your house. Do you have a nice man cave set up where you have a lot of stuff set up where that's kind of your space?
Not really. No, we have like a TV room that has some of the stuff out, like the Silver Sluggers and the batting title bat and a couple other jerseys and stuff. But I wouldn't describe it as like a man cave.
Hey, Shohei Ohtani, 700 schmilly. Like, were you surprised by that?
I was. The number obviously punches you right in the face, but I wasn't surprised in the fact that one of those big icon franchises, and even the Blue Jays, coming to the table, rumors, say in the 650 to 700 range. I just think when you talk about what an international superstar you're dealing with, and the guy that brings the whole continent of Asia, the interest that he brings to an organization and the value that he adds to these organizations, I knew the number would be huge. And I don't know. The only thing that makes me a little uneasy is the fact that he's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. But you are talking about one of the best pitchers in the league, probably a top 5 or 6 pitcher and a top 5 or 6 hitter. So you break it down where you pay those guys $30 to $35 million, and he's both. So you get $70 million out of the deal. I am, like I said, I am concerned about the double Tommy John, but they wouldn't pay it if they didn't have it and they didn't see the value in it. And they don't ever really operate in a way where they're okay with coming out in the red. So I know that they've done the evaluations of what he brings to an organization and how they're going to make all that money back as far as what they can do to utilize it in TV contracts and advertising and all the things that come with having a guy that's that marketable and people are interested in. So it's a huge number, and a lot of the money is deferred, which makes it easier for them to still put a team around them and pay some of those other guys. So it is a big number, but like I said, I'm not all that surprised.
Who would have made a better quarterback, you or Todd Helton?
Well, I mean, he played at Tennessee, so it's hard for me to. I only played in high school, but he would tell you probably that I probably profiled as the better quarterback. He likes to talk about how he played in college though, so I will defer to the guy that actually played in the SEC. Ended up losing out to Peyton Manning, who turned out to be a pretty decent quarterback. So I have to tip my cap to Todd, who played in college. But I was probably the more highly recruited quarterback out of that deal. But like I said, I only played in high school.
I know you're having a ball watching your kids. Could be your first major league season or your son's first major league season. You'll get to enjoy that. And then the pipeline's coming for the next son.
Yeah.
Probably following a similar path, maybe even a faster one. But I'm just curious, in the back of your mind, do you have any sort of timetable when you're like, okay, I'm gonna throw my hat back in the ring for coaching? Do you have that tucked away anywhere?
No, I mean I don't think so. I just it's hard to predict when you're going to really have the time and the you really got to be all in if you're going to get back into the grind of 162 games. And that's where, like, even with Yachty, it's nice to have some flexibility. So he gets to still be part of the organization and be able to help and put his wisdom into the organization, but at the same time, he's not spending 6 months, doing a lot of traveling and being away from your family. So it's that fine line, when you're done playing and all the things you've missed with your kids, trying to figure out how you can still be in the game you love and feel like that's your calling and that's your gifting is baseball, and how do I use it, and how do I find the fulfillment of having a job and trying to help something be better, but yet still trying to make up for lost time with your kids and the things that you missed out on. So it's a delicate sort of line to try to walk. So it's difficult to say, hey, this is when I want to do this, or this is when I want to do that. Like I said, I don't know that there's ever going to be a time where I don't want to go watch my kids play baseball or whatever Grayson and Reed end up doing. But the two older boys, I mean, I don't know that there's ever going to be a time where I'm going to, really want to feel like I can miss all the things that they're doing in their careers.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all, Matty. Hey, appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Y'all have a good day.
You too,
You too.
dude.
Thanks.
You too, buddy. Matty Holliday joining us every single Monday, man.
He basically said that might be it. He's never going to coach.
I don't blame him. I watch my kid, man, every damn day.
Well, he is sitting on a pile of cash.
I mean, 10 years from now, he's only, 50? How old is he, about 43 right now, 44? What is he, 43?
43.
January 15th.
He's young, dude.
I mean, his kids graduate high school 10 years from now. He's only 53. Might change your mind.
Yeah. But when you got kids like that, dude, you just want to, everything's about them, everything.
But it's easier to watch them in the major leagues if you're also in the major leagues.
Is it?
Well, you going to fly all around? I mean, you live in Stillwater, Oklahoma?
Yes, that's what he plans on doing.
He'll be flying around with another team, not watching.
I wouldn't be. His kid's going to make that opening day roster.
Cam's telling Charlie about
he's going to fly around.
Okay, but let's be honest. You're going to go to his first game, first series. You're going to go to a few series. He's not going to follow the Baltimore Orioles around and watch every game.
But if
Like
he's
Marlins,
coaching,
man.
Watch it on TV.
But if he's coaching,
You can't
if
watch
he's
it on
coaching
TV.
a team, you can't fly any of the time.
And play against them.
Once in a while.
Twice.
What if you coach your son on the same team?
So I can't comment on that.
I'm kidding.
I can't comment on that.
I'm
about
kidding.
A parent coaching and want to follow your kid around.
That was hurtful.
I mean,
What happened?
I can't comment on that.
What happened?
I said,
You don't
Cam,
think my dad, if he had
said-
enough money, he'd have an RV follow me everywhere
I said
went?
Cam's telling Charlie about parenting,
Not really.
which is why it was sarcasm.
Two different perspectives. He's talking about his dad watching him
little
play.
hurtful.
A little hurtful.
A little
Cole. What's
hurtful.
wrong with you today?
Yeah, you were a
You're
little down. You were a little
today.
down.
What's wrong with
I
you?
was down today?
I was going to ask you afterwards, but now I'm going to
Yeah,
do it
what
on
happened?
air.
Was he down
What
today? I think
yes,
he was down
yes,
today.
Yes, he was.
I wouldn't say down.
No, he was down.
I would say not as peppy.
He pushed the mic away a couple times. What's wrong?
Oh, I was just up
All
on
good.
podcast.
All good.
Is
though?
it because of Joe Kelly? Because I wanted Joe Kelly? Is that
No.
No? All right.
Is it because Ollie lost the room?
Is it?
Ollie lost the room, and it just trickled into this room. And he
Ohtani
lost
make too
me.
much money? You
No,
didn't like that
I'm
contract?
actually very happy for him. Although California taxes, you're not making that much money.
He's about making. Yeah, you're not. But that's probably why you got $700.
What if you defer it, even though you're never supposed to defer money? But if you defer it when inflation's high, money is expensive right now.
Also,
Still, in the end, it never makes sense to defer. But that's the reason he got $700. He doesn't get $700.
Why not?
If I'm saying there's no way he would have gotten $700 if he didn't defer a huge portion of it. That's why $700 million deferred is not actually $700 million if you look at it in real everyday money because you defer. It's looked upon differently.
and he may already
Why?
have this, but you start a foundation, you could kind of offset some of the stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, baby.
Like they don't even look at it the same with the salary cap, or not the salary cap, but the competitive balance tax. Mm-hmm. Like Bobby Bonilla. Everybody says Bobby Bonilla made a great deal. He didn't. He'd have had way more money if he got it up front and properly invested it.
but he protected from spending it, which sometimes
Yeah.
is a smart move.
Exactly. Yeah.
For
Sometimes
25
that's a
years,
smart
though?
move.
Yeah.
You're telling me when you're
To always make $1 million
45?
to sit around doing nothing every day and then to have a $1 point something million check coming in every 25 years.
I agree with you, but if he took that money early on, when did he sign that contract?
Well, that's
20 years
contingent
ago?
on making good investments.
Okay, but what has the stock market and the real estate market done the last 20 years?
I think it grow.
Tripled, quadrupled?
Agreed.
The real estate market's probably at least doubled.
Agreed. But then again, you're taking the middleman out. You're trusting an agent who put it in this restaurant that went under. No one knows why it went
Well,
under.
don't do that.
08 happened. It's rocked then.
But then it went right back up.
There's something to be said for working for years and knowing I'm going to start with 1.6 million. There's a sense of freedom that comes
Yeah,
with that.
I get that. Well, good Monday.